On the engine mount tube, the epoxy is mostly dry. Well, it's mostly hard. One thing I hate about 5-minute epoxy is it never feels like it's really rock hard. It always feels a little gummy to me. But we're going to move ahead. Eventually it'll get hard enough, and we're going to put good epoxy on top of this. So we need to install this into the tube. So you're going to take the free end and you're going to pass it in. Well, actually, you want to do a test fit, and that's what I'm doing first. So just make sure that it's going to fit in. Sometimes, you know, there might be a little bit of epoxy on the edges. So you want to make sure that it will slide into the tube. And when we put it in, we want to make sure that this ring is behind the slot, otherwise our fin won't go in. So that's where it's going to be positioned. And our front ring is right here. You can kind of see it through it. So we are in that band. So we need to put another epoxy band in there. We're going to tack glue this as well. So I need to mix up some more epoxy. What you should do here on this is take the end and go backwards out this side. So that, ow, smashed my arm. So that when you do slide it into the tube, it's out of the way. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy here, just a little bit more like we did before, and then we'll bond this in before we can do the next step after this, which is to drill some holes in the tube, and we'll find out why in the next video. Okay, to apply this inside the tube, we're going to take a dowel and just put a little bit on the end. And we're going to take it and go inside and just start smearing it around in there. When you get it on the dowel, just keep rotating the dowel like that so it doesn't have a chance to sag and drip onto your table. That's the way that I try to do things. Okay, then we're going to stick this inside part way, and we're going to put epoxy just on the inside here, and by putting it part way we can work it around. What I don't want to do is to put it on and then slide this in, because then it takes all that epoxy that was here and just slides it through. So we do a kind of halfway. And then you just slide it over to the other side. And just smear it around in there. Again, this is just to tack it in place, so you don't need a uniform coat all the way around. We're going to worry about that later. So then we're just going to slide it in. And again, remember, only slide it in until it stays behind the slot. And this one did slide into the epoxy, which is good. And this one is in the epoxy here. You might want to give it a little rotation. So I'm holding it and just rotating the tube around, just kind of trying to spread things around, you know, build up a little strength. So this tube, I'm going to wipe out any excess epoxy here. This is just for cosmetic reasons, really. All right, so I'm going to let it harden. And like I said, we're going to start drilling some holes here. I'll tell you why. We're going to inject, once we put the fins in, we're going to eject epoxy into the tube with a syringe. So we're going to fill up the syringe with epoxy, find the little holes and inject it in there, and then just swoosh it around so that it coats everything on the inside. So that's the plan. This is what Mach 1, this is their preferred method. Not typically my preferred method, but I'm trying to give you all the different options so that you have choices when you build a fiberglass kit. So I'm Tim Van Milligan. This is the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. Thanks for coming.